The news, good evening. President Weval Ramkalawan has spoken with optimism about Seychelles' recovery from the near disaster brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. He was speaking during a special sitting of the National Assembly earlier this evening to mark his administration's first year in office. Mr. Ramkalawan provided a general overview of the progress made from October 2020 to date. He noted that his ministers have at times struggled to try and sort out the country's lagging economy. However, he says his administration came up with concrete decisions, including the COVID-19 vaccination program and the reopening of Seychelles to visitors.
In a sign that the situation is improving rapidly, President Ramkalawan pointed out that the country's net reserves has improved remarkably from $430 million now. He was optimistic it will possibly reach up to $743 million in the near future. The president recalled that he made a commitment exactly a year ago as he was sworn into office to do everything possible for the people of Seychelles. And he added that he was convinced that the country was indeed on the right path. President Ramkalawan also focused on the measures his government have undertaken to improve the situation of those people who were dependent on the state for welfare payments, and said that everyone who wants to work can now find employment. Most of those who were on unemployment relief scheme are now fully employed and are able to bring more money home. President Ramkalawan spoke optimistically about the development and expansion of agricultural and animal products on the three main islands and on some outer islands in collaboration with the Islands Development Company. The president also spoke of moves to revive traditional agricultural products such as the production of vanilla, patchouli oil and other local products. Mr. Ramkalawan said that one of his other priorities as from next year is to sort out the land and housing issues. The head of state also focused on the fight for human and individual rights that characterized his struggle. He gave his promise that no one should ever fear for their lives ever again as the administration consolidates and improves human rights in the country. President Ramkalawan has also congratulated the Seychelles Defense Forces for their loyalty towards the country and the flag over the past year. And on that point, the head of state announced that the name of that institution will soon change from SPDF to Seychelles Defense Forces.
And President Ramkalawan leaves the country this evening on an official visit to Dubai, where he will be attending the Expo 2020 until the 30th of this month. During his visit, President Ramkalawan will attend the Seychelles National Day event on the 28th and also give a speech on the opening of a forum on investment. President Ramkalawan will then leave Dubai for Glasgow in Scotland, where he will attend the COP26 summit on climate change from the 30th of October till the 3rd of November. He will be accompanied on the mission by a delegation of government officials as well as some technicians. The body of a 6-month-old stillborn baby girl was found this morning in a gutter in the district of Plaisance, not far from an Indian shop. The discovery was reported at 7:28 in the morning at the Montfleury police station. An investigation is underway pending the results of the autopsy. Seychelles has its first ambassador of Zimbabwe, David Hamadzi Ripi. He was welcomed at the State House to present President Ramkalawan his documents of accreditation this morning. Ambassador Hamadzi Ripi is in Seychelles since Sunday. He says Seychelles and Zimbabwe have a good diplomatic relationship and that both countries can learn from each other, such as in tourism, whereby Zimbabwe can learn from Seychelles' marketing skills.
Training and in other related areas in the tourism sector. So we are we have agreed that we'll work very closely together also with the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Tourism. You also briefed me about Seychelles' experience in combating the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are impressed by the numbers that have been achieved in terms of those who have been vaccinated. In Zimbabwe as well, we have a vaccination program that is progressing well, but the numbers of those who are vaccinated is not as high as it is here in Seychelles.
And Ambassador Hamad Ziripi also discussed with Vice President Ahmed Afif on the upcoming conference on climate change, COP26.
My president will be attending that conference, and we hope that my president and His Excellency the President of the Republic of Seychelles will be able to have some discussions there as well. But what we discussed is our concern about the acceleration of climate change and our expectation that developed countries who are largely responsible for this acceleration in climate change would meet their commitments in terms of financial support, technical support to developing countries in order that we can better mitigate the effects of climate change.
And Ambassador David Hamad Ziripi also had a meeting with the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Tourism, Sylvestre Radegon, and before leaving Seychelles on Friday to his resident home, South Africa, he will be meeting with other ministers. And just to note, Ambassador of China, the Guo Wei, is currently the longest serving ambassador. At the moment, there are some reports that some sago palm trees are dying or have been infected in certain parts of the country. One such place is at the Montfleury Primary School, which has 2 trees in its compound. During the past 2 months, one tree has wilted away, while another seemed to have recovered. The botanical garden at Montfleury is also suffering from the same fate, where several trees have been infested by a pest. The National Biosecurity Agency says it's a white insect called the Cycas scale, which is the main culprit. The insect feeds on the leaves and eventually kills the plant.
We've received some reports from a few different locations on Mahe. It's a pest that is not actually new in Seychelles. It has been present here, but maybe due recently to some change in the environment or climate, the population has increased. Also, maybe the general public are more observant and are reporting more cases, maybe because of education, sensitization and awareness. So this is maybe why we are getting more reports now. With regards to control, the first most important thing is monitoring, scouting. So we need to detect it early. Once the population is still low, it can be controlled using mechanical control, which is like water, high water pressure, and soapy solutions. There are also insecticidal oils and soaps, which can be used to control it. Cultural control, such as sanitation, pruning, destruction of infested leaves that have severely infested, we destroy these ones. And we maintain the area more or less clean, so as to allow natural enemies and predators to control it also.
Using wood to make a lampshade, decorating plates, using only one line to draw are some of the techniques that the Seychellois artisans are learning in a 2-week program at the Domaine Val-du-Pré au Cap by a French designer, Nathalie Khmer. The program is being organized by the Alliance Française and is being financed by the MCB in collaboration with the Alliance Française. And finally, tributes have been paid to the leading local conservationist and educator, Katie Beaver, who died after a short illness at the age of 77. Her husband and fellow botanist Lindsay Chongseng said his wife of 38 years had encouraged the Seychellois to appreciate nature, not just possessions. Generations of children grew up with her illustrated nature books, and field guides, and several plants were even named after her.
If you bring in something which is not native here, there is always a risk.
For British-born Katie Beaver, risk was rewarded. As Seychelles plant enthusiast and advocate, she researched and wrote numerous books and field guides helping to promote nature to children and adults alike.
Basically, to appreciate things that are non-materialistic. The way she'd been brought up was she did a lot of traveling, so she wanted our children to have that experience. So there's been some really wonderful times together.
She illustrated her work herself, helping generations of Seychellois to learn about their natural world.
She was very good at using scientific information about plants to translate it into simple text or illustration so that even small children will surely understand.
And the moss is
Katie Beaver first came to teach at National Youth Service nearly 40 years ago, soon running wildlife clubs, co-founding the Plant Conservation Action Group and helping publish its long-running newsletter.
She was a very good researcher. Yeah, she was very, very methodical in whatever she did. She leaves behind everything that she has published, all the people that has benefited from her expertise, myself included.
Plants were even named after her, including the tiny fern Fougere Katie, discovered in 2013. Her friend and former Environment Minister Didier Dogley said today that science had lost a friend.
She was a very caring and giving person. And I think in general, all of us who did work with her and who have that passion for plants and even the little lichens and ferns, and it's going to be a big loss.
She leaves behind her husband of 38 years, 2 daughters and a young grandson.
And that's it for this news summary. Join me at 8 for the Creole Bulletin.